there. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Weather Out West. I'm meteorologist Ashley Ruiz. Here's what we're tracking for you this morning. The wet weather is making a comeback for portions of the western United States. We'll show you how much rain everyone can expect over the next couple of days, plus how much rain this can be because of the tropical systems and hurricanes that are currently in the Pacific. We give you a look at the active tropics and what's bringing the showers for some cities. And an arrest has been made in one of the most destructive wildfires in Los Angeles. Why investigators say the arson suspect may have been motivated by AI. And later, it's no secret these cute little furry pandas eat a lot of bamboo. We'll show you how they are prepared for them. And good Thursday morning. Once again, welcome to Weather Out West. This is an hour-long show where we tell you what's happening weather-wise across the western United States. Today, we're going to start in Arizona, where a flash flood watch will go into place later tonight. Meteorologist Ginger Jeffries has the forecast in Phoenix as they're expecting around 2 inches of rain.
I'm meteorologist Ginger Jeffries with a look at your weather out west across Arizona, where we are prepping for potentially flooding conditions that will end up impacting us through the weekend and into the early part of next week. This is all tropical moisture that is branching off from what was a hurricane and now lifting up into our neck of the woods. So the access of precipitation is going to be directly over Phoenix by Saturday and then moving down to the southeast on Sunday. But still, we are talking about pretty amplified rainfall totals, which could lead to flooding. Today, well, it's the early stages of it, but we should start to see some thunderstorm development. We could get some moisture popping up in the metro, but look at what's happened to your temperatures. After temps that were well above the normal range, granted not record territory, we are now back into the double digits. Highs like 93 today in Yuma. I've got 94 in Parker, 68 at the Grand Canyon, 79 in Sedona, about 70 in Show Low, 92 in Tucson, and overhead in Phoenix, 94 degrees. National Weather Service, taking note of what is coming up into our neck of the woods. We now have a flash flood watch that will go into place later tonight through Sunday. This is going to be all due to that tropical moisture I was just talking about. So let's take a look. Some of the rainfall totals, and understand that the models have been adjusting every single day, and that's what happens with tropical moisture. As we see it move onshore, you can really then start to gauge where it's going, how fast it's moving, what kind of rain patterns are associated with it. And right now, you can see, look at this. 2.5 to up to 4 inches expected in our local mountains. So the superstitions, higher elevations into Payson. But even for the metro, we need to prepare for up to an inch and a half or better. Look at, we're in the purples, and then we've got some blues as well. That's about 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches. So as we really zero in, a couple things have changed. Yesterday, Apache Junction, they were saying up to 4 inches of rain. They have now really downgraded that. And again, this will continue to change as we get a little bit closer. But for Phoenix, we should be over 1 inch and under 2 inches, which for the Valley of the Sun is sizable. So let's take a look. As I track it, you can see tonight, we've got some opportunity. Very spotty shower activity closer to the city, but as you can see, for the higher elevations and certainly west of the valley, we are looking for some thunderstorm potential tonight. Then into the tomorrow morning by 6 a.m. Does look like everything is going to be north of Phoenix in the higher elevations, but then this is going to spread out, and we've got a pretty sizable wave moving through Friday night. That's why we have that weather impact alert that goes into place Friday night, but it's going to stay with us through the weekend. Because notice, by Saturday morning, we've got heavy showers expected, and then this is going to start to push down into the southeast tier of the state. And as you can see, some of this action dynamic in nature, so potentially hail, certainly some thunderstorm capabilities, which also means lightning. And because these downpours are going to be very heavy at times, the flood potential will stay with us. Look at this, Sunday morning, still seeing some heavy showers in the air arena. So what's the biggest concern about this storm, not the wind, not the heat, not the dust. Instead, it's the flood potential, and it is very high. Having said that, our heaviest rainfall is expected. Look at this on Saturday. We're ramping up tonight, really seeing some expansive coverage on Friday, but heaviest rainfall is expected on Saturday. Because of that, temperatures across the board coming down. Take a look at this 7-day forecast. We are seeing the 60s today, 50s, upper 50s by Saturday. And then for the Valley of the Sun, well, it's going to be on the soggy and humid side through the weekend as our daytime highs fall into the 80s.
Now let's head on over to Denver, where after a few days of enjoying quiet weather, things are about to change. They're also going to feel the effects of some of that moisture from Priscilla. Chris Bianchi and Katie LaSalle have the details on the rain they're expecting in today's forecast.
Well, it was a warm day back on Wednesday, October the 8th. And if you thought it was warm back on Wednesday, wait till you see what we've got in store for us for this Thursday across Colorado. Meantime highs, mostly 60s and 70s for us in the mountains, 80s on the eastern plains for the most part, though we did have some 70s in the northeastern corner of the state. Most of what you're looking at here from back on Wednesday, about 5 to 10 degrees above average. But skipping ahead here to today, those temperatures are going to be in the 80s for us in the eastern plains. This is closer to about 10 to 15 degrees above average for the eastern plains and closer to about 10 degrees above average for us in the mountains, where we've got a bit more cloud cover for us for today. And that cloud cover, in part thanks to southwest flow, that's going to drop the remnants of what was Hurricane Priscilla and bring us a lot of rain, especially for tomorrow and for Saturday. For your Friday and your Saturday, we'll see some of those showers start to push their way into the mountains, and that'll continue for us into Saturday as well in Denver and in eastern Colorado. If you're unfamiliar with Colorado geography, of course, you got the Front Range, the Rockies here, and in Denver, that means you get the downsloping winds off the Rockies, downsloping, a drying and warming wind. Point being, in Denver and the I-25 corridor, we mostly get shut out from the rain. This is a mountain special for us over the next couple of days, but it's going to be some deep tropical moisture. We see some of that here for your Thursday, but also for your Friday and your Saturday. And that could lead to, in some cases, maybe even 1 to 2 inches of rain for us in the San Juans. Most of this comes on, again, Friday and Saturday. But in Denver, again, we're on the dry side of all this. So we're generally on the dry and warm side over the next couple of days. Average high this time of year, upper 60s. We only will be on the seasonal side on Monday. Until then, we'll be mostly in the 70s, low 80s for us on Thursday. Not too far away from a daily record. So generally leaning on the dry and warm side.
I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team's Katie LaSalle, and on this October 9th, we are bracing for some widespread precipitation impacting Colorado, all due to tropical moisture set to stream into the desert southwest and the western half of the state. So Friday and Saturday, remnants of Hurricane Priscilla, a lot of moisture set to move into the region, really beneficial precipitation that we're expecting with severe to extreme drought still in place for a big portion of the state. But you combine that with an area of low pressure over the Four Corners region. We do have the risk of seeing flooding concerns, especially over burn-scarred areas with a lot of wet weather on the way. Our drought monitor, some of the driest portions of our country will be impacted by this, which is lovely to see. We absolutely could use the precipitation, and extreme to severe drought does encompass much of the western slope into our central and southern mountains, where we're expecting to see the most precipitation. So what does bust drought conditions? It's really that consistent moderate to heavy rainfall, the steady moisture that we're expecting to see through Friday and Saturday over the western slope, and that will replenish the soil, the groundwater. Upwards of 1 to 3 inches of rainfall will be possible. Here's our rain forecast. It's not going to rain all day for Friday and Saturday, but come in waves. So for tomorrow evening, could be seeing anywhere between 1/2 inch from Cortez to Grand Junction. For our central mountains, we will start to see more of that wet weather rolling through the course of the day on Saturday. The heaviest moisture will be possible through the day on Saturday. So if you do have any plans in the mountains, especially west of the Continental Divide over the western slope in Grand Junction, just be prepared for wet weather. Now, most of the I-25 corridor and eastern plains will get spared from a lot of the notable precipitation. It's going to be some downsloping conditions that we see as we take you through our statewide futurecast, and just mostly cloudy skies. We'll really start to see the wet weather pick up for our northwestern corner of the state into our northern then central mountains, the I-70 drive through Friday night, and then another round of rainfall, a big drop drink of water for Colorado. Very helpful for those drought conditions. And every Thursday, that drought monitor is released and updated. So it'll be great to see the precipitation will be here throughout the course of the system as it rolls through before skies gradually clear on Sunday. And you can see from the 7-day forecast, not really impacting the Denver area. Temperatures warm today and dry. Could see a few late day storms and showers Saturday, and then cooler weather arrives and skies will gradually clear out across Colorado to start next week with more seasonal conditions ahead.
Police have arrested a 29-year-old former Uber driver who they say started the January fire that devastated LA's Pacific Palisades neighborhood. 12 people died in the fire and thousands of homes and businesses were destroyed. Authorities say the man set the fire on a hiking trail on New Year's Eve, and that rekindled a week later and exploded in size. They also say the suspect appeared to be fixated on fire. They even generated a ChatGPT image of a burning city before starting the fire. Locals say news of the arrest brings back the trauma of the fires, but says it's a step toward justice.
It wasn't the kids with the fireworks. It wasn't, natural causes. It wasn't the electric company. It was, just some crazy psychopath that was fantasizing about it.
Investigators say the suspect previously lived in Pacific Palisades and was tracked down in Florida. Still ahead, a dramatic rescue of a jaguar in a river, the startling reason why it almost drowned. Plus, we'll head to the Pacific Northwest for a forecast where a low pressure system is also bringing them rain. Take a look at this desperate rescue. Police in Brazil came to the aid of a wounded jaguar, and the jaguar was found struggling to swim in a river in the state of Amazonas. As you can see, police used an improvised flotation device to rescue it from drowning. Oh, thank goodness for them. The jaguar was taken to the vet, and a clinical evaluation showed it had been actually shot, as well as it had fractured teeth. The animal remains under specialized veterinary care. That poor guy. All right, so from the 80s to the 50s, the southwestern portion of Idaho is bracing for some kind of weather whiplash. Boise's Hector Mendoza tells us what we can expect.
Well, it was a beautiful day yesterday here in southwest Idaho as we had temperatures climbing up into those upper 70s. Caldwell hitting the low 80s for yesterday. And look at some of the warm temperatures we saw there in through the 60s there for places into the mountains, and even in through the Magic Valley. Those low to mid 70s is what we had yesterday. But the views were absolutely fantastic yesterday. So here's a look at what we saw yesterday out in Hell's Canyon in some spots out there as we had some clouds. We did have some of those blue skies, and we continue to see those beautiful temperatures there through many spots there. So let's pull up that picture here as we are going to start to notice that those conditions are going to continue here for today. And just look at that. Jacqueline Myers posted this on our Idaho Weather Watchers Facebook page. And not only can you see the beauty there off into the distance, you could see it reflected there on that water there. So thank you so much for posting this on our Idaho Weather Watchers Facebook page. But as we start to look ahead here, we're going to start to notice a bit of a change as we look on. It's going to be a drastic change in terms of temperatures, what the weather is going to look like, and of course some of the winds that we're going to be seeing. So just like this transformer here, things are really going to start to take a different shape as we head on in through the weekend. So a lot of those temperatures really going to drop significantly from Friday into Saturday. Precipitation chances will start to increase, and we'll also see those winds gradually increase as we're expecting some gustier winds to come along as a front rolls through, and even a system that comes in and makes its way inland there and through Saturday. So that kit, this is what's going to be necessary here for some of the weather we're going to experience there for the weekend, as you're going to need that umbrella. You're going to need the rain boots, of course, something a little bit warmer, so a nice warm sweater, a beanie maybe, or if you're wanting to stay at home, maybe some soup is going to come in handy, as we have that soup container there on your bottom right-hand corner. And so we're going to expect to want to stay a little bit warmer with some of the cooler temperatures. And this is going to be the system that's going to be the culprit that's going to bring us some of those showers. The winds will increase, and again, those cooler temperatures there with that cold front and that system that comes in closer in through the weekend. So let's look at our future cast here. Fast forward here to about 6:30 in the afternoon. We'll see that cold front make its way through Friday night and through early Saturday Saturday morning that'll spark some of those showers there through Friday and Saturday morning. And then we are going to continue to see that some of those chances will come in as that system makes its way through. And then we're expecting a little bit more of those showers to come along through Saturday and Sunday. And then you'll notice here in portions of the mountains, we'll see a little bit more of those white and purple contours. That is signifying a chance for us to see our first snowfall in the mountains of the season as those snow levels will start to drop at about 5,000 feet, and we could see a possibility as we roll our way through the weekend and possibly extending on in through Thursday, where we could see close to about 2 inches of snow in some spots as we look at McCall and Stanley. But most of this precipitation continues on as rainfall in areas here through the Treasure Valley, with most of that hitting some of that moisture there through eastern Idaho as we continue on through the weekend. So as we look at that 7-day forecast here for the mountains, we are going to see a huge drop from the upper 60s down into the mid 40s there for Sunday. We are going to continue to rise up just a bit, but staying around those low 50s. But we are anticipating seeing a little bit more of that active weather coming along for the second half of next week. We are also seeing, again, with some of these changes we have here through Twin Falls, we're going to see first alert weather conditions for Saturday and in through Sunday. And that is why we have those red bars there for the weekend. And that's exactly what we're expecting here in Boise, as we're going to see that huge drop, almost 20 degrees from Friday into Saturday. The winds will definitely start to impact the afternoon there for Saturday. So again, a lot of the weekend plans are definitely going to have to change, or you might have to change up what we have expecting here for Saturday and Sunday. And then we could see some of that active weather sticking along in through the week and through the middle of the week, with temperatures still into the upper 50s to low 60s there through Wednesday.
Now let's head to Seattle, Washington. After the 70s earlier in the week, specifically 75, the autumn weather officially has arrived. I have the details on the wet weather pattern as well as the potential for mountain snow. Hey there, a very happy Thursday to you. I'm King 5 meteorologist Ashley Ruiz with a look at your forecast. We are definitely in autumn at this point. We hit a high of about 75 degrees the other day. Now we're going to only be in the 50s and 60s all the way into next week. We're also going to hold on to shower chances mainly this morning, but it's going to be off and on over the next couple of days, and cooler air arrives over the weekend, especially on Sunday. And so that means lowering snow levels. So some mountain snow looking likely. And next week we start to dry things out. Let's talk about what's going on. We have these showers moving over western Washington, really the Cascade foothills, and closer to Seattle as well, whereas the coast seeing sunshine this morning, and likely going to be the case through the day. Off and on showers through the morning, and it's all thanks to this area of low pressure spinning offshore, and that low is going to rotate showers over the area. Even if it starts to back off a little to the west, we'll still have rain pushing over the area as it just sends waves of moisture over the area. But into our Friday, most of the precipitation falling over the Olympic Peninsula up to Vancouver Island, but a couple of showers may move over Seattle as well. And I'll tell you why. We have a close eye on Friday's forecast very carefully. That's coming up. But into our Saturday, may start off with some showers as we start to get a weak system moving in, a weak front that's going to send rain from northwest to southeast. But Saturday isn't going to be a washout as well. Let's take you up to Hurricane Ridge. It is a beautiful morning, staying mostly on the dry side. A couple of light showers push through, but that's about it. You can just see off in the distance as well the beautiful Olympics. Let's take you up to Mount Rainier Paradise. You see it is wet, but it's also on the cool side, but snow levels come way down. Today about 8,500 feet, but by Sunday and into Monday down to 4,000 feet. And Snoqualmie Pass, Stevens Pass in the Cascades still going to be just near that. So Snoqualmie Pass could easily see some flakes falling, but most of it likely will not stick. Maybe a couple of inches in Stevens Pass, but the higher elevations going to get a couple of inches of snow. So that just goes to show that autumn in full swing, and the wetter months as well. The next couple of days we're in the 60s and 50s, and then even next week as we dry things out, it's going to be on the cool side but seasonal. Our mornings are going to be very chilly in the 30s and 40s. Highs highs today, depending on how many sun breaks we get, going to be in the low and mid 60s. A better chance for sun to our west, but either way, there is a decent chance we get sun breaks into the afternoon. Overnight lows in the 40s and 50s, but tomorrow we're in the upper 50s and lower 60s. Some spots may not even hit that 60-degree mark. And the reason why I was saying we're carefully watching that forecast, because Game 5, the Mariners versus the Detroit Tigers at home here in Seattle on Friday. A couple of showers are possible, but either way, we have a roof. We can be protected from the rain. So I know a lot of people just want that roof open, but possibly not. Futurecast showing that into the afternoon we'll have sun breaks here, but then into Friday morning as that low sends more showers over the area. It's likely going to be closer to the coast, but into the afternoon another wave. You see how they're just rotating, and then into Saturday. Here's a look into Saturday morning, northwest to southeast. We could even get a couple of convergence zone showers setting up over Seattle and Everett and into the mountains as well. Over the next couple of days, once again, we'll be in the 50s to about 60, and then beyond the 7-day forecast, upper 50s and lower 60s. Have you ever wondered where pandas get all of their bamboo that they eat? Well, after the break, we'll show you how the San Diego Zoo curates it for them. The world-famous pandas at the San Diego Zoo spend much of their day eating. They need a lot of bamboo, as you can imagine, and they don't like just any kind of bamboo. San Diego's Netta Iranpour takes us to a local bamboo field to learn how it gets harvested and how much is needed.
Most of us can watch this all day. Pandas slowly munching and crunching. Bamboo is their main diet, and they get multiple species of bamboo, only the best for Xingbao and Yunchuan. While their home is here at the San Diego Zoo, the safari park is where a majority of their food is grown.
This is Philostachys vivax.
Andres Guerrero specializes in bamboo.
People, when they see this, they think it's a tree, but it's actually the world's tallest grass.
Yes, pandas get nice and plump thanks to grass.
Ah, the beautiful sounds of bamboo. Yeah, they're pretty hard on the outside, but what you may not know is they're mostly hollow on the inside. Look at this cut one.
The nodes hold some nutrients and water. Everything else gets eaten too, from the leaves to the culms.
We've seen them chomping away, but it's not like an easy thing to chew through, right?
Correct, yeah, but their teeth is made for that. As far as this goes, they'll completely annihilate it.
Bamboo gets harvested every morning.
So here, I would want to open this area up. So I would just grab my knife and a saw, give it a little cut, and then a back cut, and watch your head.
Watch out.
So then I would just bring this out.
Ow. Let's see how tall it is.
Yeah, let's see how tall it is.
I got it. Wow. Look at that.
We just cut 5-foot sections, so I'd say like right here is a good amount.
So then this chunk is like a typical snack for them? Like for that,
yeah, so this is a small portion.
Okay.
We would usually harvest about 20 of these 5-foot sections.
They eat about 75 pounds a day each. They're given about 12 different species and then subspecies. Andres describes it as a giant salad.
We harvest about 6 to 9 bundles. Those get heavy. They're about like 50 plus pounds.
I mean, tell me what you love so much about this.
Just the sounds, the leaves rustling, the culms just clashing. It's pretty poetic.
Andres and his team are also contributing to a global conservation effort to protect a beloved species. For Earth 8 at the San Diego Zoo Safari Park, I'm Netta Iranpour.
Just munching away. You've heard us mention Priscilla so much over the last couple of days. Well, coming up in the next half hour, we'll give you the tropics update, plus how the hurricane will affect the forecast in the Golden State. Stay with us. Take a look at this. While most of the West Coast was dealing with the incoming rain, the skies in New Mexico were filled with a beautiful sight yesterday. Look at that. It was all a part of the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, the flight of the nation's honored international pilots as they took off one at a time. Wow. Each hot air balloon had the respective flags of their country attached to the baskets, and representatives from 12 countries took part in the event. Wow, so beautiful. You could watch that all day. Okay, so thank you so much for sticking with us here on Weather Out West. Here's what we have for you in the back half hour. A lot to cover. Raging winds have been discovered on Mars, what 20 years of images reveal about their similarities to Earth and what it means for further exploration. And we have an active scene in the tropics with some storms and even hurricanes. A lot going on in the Pacific, which you can see. I know it's very busy in the eastern Pacific right now. We have several storms to cover. So Priscilla, you've heard us mention that. I'm sure you haven't heard enough, right? Then we have the remnants of Octave, and then we have 17. That is currently tropical depression, expected to become Tropical Storm Raymond, all the way to the R names in the East Pacific. You can see the last couple of ones, Octave maxed out at a Cat 1 hurricane, Priscilla a Cat 2, and then we had the Eric at Cat 4, and you see it's just been super active. Meanwhile, in the Atlantic Basin, we now have Tropical Storm Jerry, and then just a very large area of low pressure spinning over the northern Atlantic. Compared to the Pacific, look at how quiet it's been in the Atlantic, which is a great thing, yes. The next named storm on the list is Karen. And as we've been mentioning all morning, all of our meteorologists have as well, some of that moisture from Priscilla will be affecting San Diego. That's where we resume your weather forecasts with meteorologist Vanessa Paz. She has those details for Southern California.
Happy Thursday from San Diego, California. I'm CBS 8 meteorologist Vanessa Paz. All right, all eyes have been on Hurricane Priscilla. It has rapidly decreased. It was strengthened over the past few days to a Category 2, then to 1. And as it entered cooler waters off the Baja Peninsula, we're now looking at it as a post-tropical storm. That's not to say it won't continue to have an impact for much of Southern California over the Four Corners. In fact, we were tracking thunderstorms earlier this morning just to our east along Imperial County, as well as parts of Arizona. Right now, winds within the system weaker, significantly weaker, of about 45 miles per hour. It's moving in a north-northwest direction of about 8 miles per hour, and the pressure about at 996 millibars. So still low pressure system as it continues to churn off the coast. All right, the rainfall forecast. This is what a lot of people were focusing on the past couple of days, is what is it going to do to my Thursday and Friday. As we fast forward our rainfall forecast, again, most of the activity, it looks to target the county's eastern half. So the mountains, as well as our local deserts, will likely get in on the action when it comes to rainfall. We are going to see a couple of rounds. So that's the first round, and then we'll have a secondary round pushing Friday into Saturday morning. Then by Saturday afternoon, it looks like we're mostly clear. This won't be a significant event by any means. However, if we do see any pop-up thunderstorms, we know by now that it could be associated with heavy downpours. And when that happens, the National Weather Service could very well issue flood watches or flood advisories. We'll just have to wait and see. But as of right now, in terms of totals, it's not looking very great or large by any means. Taking a look at the weather headlines, again, the warmth peaks tomorrow, and then we'll have some cooling this weekend. An area of low pressure that's tapping into some of that subtropical moisture. It's going to drop south, and it will usher in cooler air by the time we get to Saturday and Sunday. So overall, we're looking at valley isolated showers. The mountains will have the greatest chance of seeing thunderstorms. And this is also going to come with some pretty gusty winds. We're going to have elevated winds out of the northwest, especially for the county's eastern slopes of the mountains, as well as the desert areas. Isolated gusts could be anywhere between 40 to 45 miles per hour. Here's what's on tap for Friday's highs. We were talking about mid-70s for most areas across the coastal and beach neighborhoods. Per usual, Oceanside is going to be one of the warmer spots along the coast, inching close to that 80-degree mark. We'll see plenty of 80s to go around for tomorrow when it comes to the inland valleys. Now, tomorrow will be the warmest day of the next 7, and then temperatures are going to come crashing down by the time we get to the weekend. Forecasting high of 75 in Palomar Mountain, 80 degrees out in Julian, and for Borrego Springs and Ocotillo Wells will likely hit highs in the low 90s. All right, rolling out our 7-day coastal and inland forecast. Here's what it looks like. Again, the most active days will be Friday, potentially lingering into Saturday, and then things simmer down once we get to Sunday. However, we'll have another system, this one coming from the north, bringing a lot more cooler air, touching down Tuesday and Wednesday. So don't get the car washed just yet. We are expecting a secondary round looking ahead to the middle of next week. For the inland areas, as I mentioned, the heat peaks Friday and then temperatures will come crashing down Saturday and Sunday back into the high 70s and even more so on Monday into the low 70s. I mean, when we talk about a comparison from Friday and what we're expecting Tuesday, we're seeing a drop of over maybe 10, 15 degrees or so. The mountains and desert areas will be in the high 70s. Not too bad, but again, it's that thunderstorm activity that we're most concerned about when it comes to our mountain neighborhoods. And that could, again, cause chaotic conditions in terms of periods of gusty winds along with heavy downpours, which could lead to localized flooding. We're talking about everything simmering down on Sunday back to the low 70s. We'll stay in that range all the way through next week. We also cool down for the desert areas, upper 80s by the time we get to Monday.
Let's head up I-5 to Northern California, where they're also expecting rain, but it's not from Priscilla. Meteorologist Monica Woods has more on the 2 low-pressure systems bringing showers.
I'm meteorologist Monica Woods. We're going to be checking out an active weather pattern, tracking showers for the coast and valley and for the foothills. But a real highlight is a dry weekend for the foothills, which will include Apple Hill. Just prime time to get up there in the foothills for all things that scream fall. In the Sierra, rain and snow making a return, and we have a couple of systems that we're actually watching. Wanted to just highlight, though, real quickly, Apple Hill for the weekend. We're dry, a little bit on the cool side Saturday, warmer on Sunday. Highs will be back in the upper 60s. Now, the first system that comes through will be a little bit better organized for the Sierra. So Lake Tahoe, very early showers on Saturday and then clearing. Highs will make it into the low 50s. So we will see some nice conditions for the afternoon, a little warmer and mostly sunny on Sunday. All right, let's take a look at the progress of how these weather systems are going to come together. The first of 2 systems kind of riding right along the coast for our Thursday, giving the Bay Area a slight chance for some showers. This will move inland on Friday, increasing the chance of showers mainly north of that I-80 line that runs from San Francisco through Sacramento and on the north side of Lake Tahoe. You can see that band of rain trying to make its way through the North Bay area. It is struggling to really push past our I-5 corridor here, but once we head into our Friday, we get the back edge of this moving through as that low moves through. A little bit better organization to this, and that'll take us right into our Saturday morning for the Sierra, again with that slight chance for lingering showers. Then we get into storm system number 2. Now, this one looks far more organized, has a good cold pocket of air with better potential to bring us accumulating rain. We'll look at the moisture tracker. Another thing that we've been tracking is some tropical moisture down in Southern California. So kind of interesting that we have a cold storm up north and a warmer one down in Southern California. We'll get past that Friday forecast and then we dry out largely for our Saturday and Sunday outlook. Then Monday comes along, and this one not only holds some cold air, but it really looks like it bullnoses right through the center of California. That would give us a pretty good shot of some precipitation. So there's a lot to track heading into the end of the weekend and early next week with unseasonably cool weather sticking around. Highs in the 60s for the Sierra on this Thursday, 60s and 70s down low for the foothills. As we travel south into the central Sierra, highs are going to be in the upper 60s to right around the mid 70s with near 80-degree temperatures for inland areas. For the central coast, we are going to be looking at highs only in the 60s. So a cooler outlook for our Thursday. Highs near 80 for inland areas with sunny skies. For the Bay Area, highs are going to be in the upper 60s, inland areas in the 70s. After a warm start to the work week, we're starting to see that cooler pocket of air impacting us. 50s and 60s along the northwest coast here at Crescent City, only at 59 degrees. We're in the 70s for much of the north end of the valley, only in the upper 60s for Redding. And again, a slightly better chance of that precipitation making its way in through Northern California, north of that I-80 line, which again is going to run right from Sacramento to San Francisco and then up towards Tahoe. Highs are going to be in the 70s for the capital region. Overnight lows will be in the 50s. We've got a lot of unsettled weather heading our way for the rest of the week. We'll track that weaker weather system Friday into early Saturday for the Tahoe Basin and the mountains. Sunday we're dry, and then by Monday, much colder system. Highs drop to the 40s with the chance of rain mixed with snow. For the foothills, we've got that slight chance of a sprinkle coming in late Friday through early Saturday, dry largely for the weekends, and then rain 50s by Monday. For the Bay Area, again, a chance of those showers coming in Thursday and Friday, and then we're drying out for the weekend, and then rain expected to kick off the next week. A look at our extended forecast. We've got the weak weather system coming in on Friday, dry for the weekend for the valley, but a much more organized and colder system heading our way early next week.
After the break, we are headed back to the Pacific Northwest to wrap up your forecast. Welcome back. So 20 years worth of images taken by two orbiters circling Mars, they found the planet's iconic red dust, which allows for raging winds. The dust was caught in the wind's vortices, creating a phenomenon known as dust devils. Some of us out west may be familiar with them, just like tornadoes here on Earth. How cool. According to a study published by Science Advances, the images revealed these dust devils are more abundant globally and move much faster. They estimate the winds can move around 99 miles per hour. And experts say tracking the movement is crucial for planning future exploration there, as you can imagine. Okay, let's wrap things up with our forecast. We're going to go down, or I should say go up to Portland, where meteorologist Rod Hill tells us, well, in addition to rain, they're also feeling some cool temps.
Happy Thursday from the Rose City. I'm meteorologist Rod Hill. We have had our rain chance return. It still looks like our messaging has been that we would get the rain chance starting today. But in terms of widespread, it's raining at times, likely nearly everywhere. That is going to start early tomorrow morning and be with us all the way through Sunday into Monday of next week. So yesterday we were just seeing the satellite imagery show the signs of this low coming together. Now it's pretty well defined, and it will be our rain machine, if you will, for the coming days. Now it has produced this outer rain band ahead of it this morning that's been racing south to north up the Cascades. We've had some lightning detected. There was a strike earlier, a couple of them actually detected down around Mount Jefferson, down toward Bend into central Oregon. We've had some puddling rains because we've seen that on our live cameras up in the Dalles, between the Dalles and Hood River up into the Columbia River Gorge. This rain band is on track to begin weakening, which you can kind of see it's doing, right? It's going to weaken. It may produce some scattered showers in some of our foothill communities, such as Sandy, before it totally falls apart. This is late morning into the noon hour, just showing a speck of rain. We actually have some nice sun to start this morning, but cloudiness expected to be increasing this afternoon. And if we're going to get some showers, in the Willamette Valley between Salem, Portland, and Vancouver, the first chance looks to be 3 o'clock. And we better chance of rain like 5, 6, or 7, and seeing some passing showers. None of this would amount to much. I still think a lot of us will simply just stay dry. So if you're coming to Portland today, pretty quiet day overall. Now that changes tomorrow. Here's 8 o'clock. This is Friday morning. Here's a heavy rain band. See the bright colors pushing through the area? Could be some lightning with this as well. Again, we had some lightning along the Cascades earlier this morning. And then here we are mid-afternoon on Friday, just scattered shower waves, including some embedded downpours. Here's a little rain surge coming in during the day Saturday as well. And again, all of this will be continuing on Sunday into Monday. So rain totals between now and Sunday, will stop the clock at 8 p.m., shows on average about a 1/2 inch of rain to 3/4 coast and valley over what would be a 4-day stretch. But some decent rain totals all the way out across eastern Oregon. It shows 76 100ths of an inch in La Grande. That's out around the Blue Mountains. Shows 42 100ths of an inch of rain down in Bend. I mentioned we're getting some decent sun this morning, but increasing clouds expected as we get rolling into the afternoon. I mean, this is really pretty. Chinook Winds Casino Resort in Lincoln City. Remember, there are showers around that low center out to sea, but so far just sunny blue along our coast. Also, I want to show you that we have a renewed, or a brand new, if you will, dusting of snow down to about 7,000 feet up on Mount Hood. Clouds up over the summit this morning. It's been some rain showers at the lodge. You can see just some dusting amounts of snow at 7,000 feet. We had that last week, then it melted off. Now it's back. All right, partly cloudy skies over downtown Portland to start our day. And here's more of some mostly cloudy skies, just looking up along the Columbia River from our Vancouver The Springs at the waterfront camera. So, varying cloud conditions. We'll call it a mix of cloudiness, if anything, increasing clouds overall this afternoon as we get into that PM shower threat, with temperatures just getting up into the 60s with a light west wind. Models show a little bit warmer up north of the Columbia today. There's Vancouver at 65 and up into Longview 66. As you look at the weather map, keep in mind a lot of areas won't see any rain, especially out east where it's expected to simply be partly cloudy and mid-70s. Here comes the 7-day forecast for the Rose City. 65 today, 63 tomorrow. The heavy showers tomorrow, the rain at times this weekend into Monday. We might just squeeze in one dry day on Tuesday. That would be followed by Wednesday showers. And from the Rose City, that's your forecast.
Now let's wrap up today's forecast in Spokane, Washington. Here's meteorologist Thomas Patrick.
I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick in Spokane, Washington. All this week, we've been bathed with sunshine, and our temperatures have climbed day after day. Today is going to be our warmest day of the week, and feeling a bit more like August as opposed to October, with record highs in the conversation today. I've been deeming it hot October weather. Usually I say it's hot when it's 90 degrees. It's not going to be quite that summer hot outside, but it does not get any warmer than this. And it won't when we have huge changes on the way this weekend. It really takes until Saturday before we see a huge jut downward temperature-wise for eastern Washington and North Idaho. Check this out, though. Nearly 80 degrees for kind of early mid-October. Quite literally does not get much warmer than this at 78 in Spokane and 79 in Coeur d'Alene. Compare that to the record high temperature, which is 81 for today's date. So we're within 3 degrees compared to the record high. There will be some spots in central Washington and near the Lewiston area that will be in the low 80s for this afternoon, making this quite likely the warmest day remaining in 2025. Especially when you consider what's going to happen this weekend when we have a huge cool down on the way. So all eyes on the northwest, and there is a storm center that's just off the Washington and Oregon coasts. This is containing some polar air within its boundaries, which is bounded by the jet stream at the moment. Little taste of that for those right along the coastline in both Washington and Oregon for now, but this is stationary today. It'll take until about Saturday and Sunday for this whole wave of energy and its colder air to push clear through the Pacific Northwest. And it's going to be a sharp drop down. So around here, we have plenty of mountains, we have plenty of valleys, we have mountain passes, all at varying degrees of elevations. And these are some of the reference points for eastern Washington, kind of on the left side here, with Mount Spokane standing at 5,887 feet tall, downtown Spokane at just over 1,800 feet. But there's about a 500-foot elevation difference between the lowest point and the highest point of town. In the wintertime, that's all it takes to have a difference of snow versus rain. Meanwhile, in North Idaho, over my left shoulder here, some taller mountain peaks above 6,000 feet of elevation, and Lookout Pass right between Idaho and Montana, that's just about 4,700 feet. I reference all of these points because this weekend's snow levels will drop to 4,000 feet, basically cutting all of these points right down the middle. That means all of the mountain peaks will get their first snow of the season. But it's not quite that cold for any of our area cities, which sit at about 2,000 feet of elevation. Not quite yet for this part of the season. But it's a good reference point of just how cold this storm is from top to bottom through the atmosphere. And as it comes roaring through the northwest, it will give us low elevation rain and a bit of some mountain snow, maybe a couple inches at some of those taller peaks. The weekend forecast looks a whole lot different than it does compared to today. Remember, today is almost 80 degrees. Sunday is almost 50 degrees in Spokane. So that's a 30-degree temperature difference in the course of just 3 days. This really does feel like the first storm system that will enter us into the second half of the fall season. And fall is a short season around here, I could tell you that. First rain showers may appear on Friday, but the weather stays just warm enough in the low 70s. Then the bottom falls out of those temperatures. Highs will only be in the 50s not only this weekend, but it stays that way next week.
Talk about weather whiplash. Thanks, Thomas. Halloween is almost here, if you can believe it, and soon Thanksgiving and Christmas will arrive. The weather patterns you'll typically see during the holidays. With all of this cool weather coming, the holidays are going to be here before you know it. We go back to Thomas Patrick to tell us what we can expect during those times.
I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick in Spokane, Washington. And when it comes to our weather here, there's basically two universal truths. It's always hot by Hoop Fest and cold by Halloween. And that makes sense. That's late June and late October, respectively. But that could be the case anywhere across the Pacific Northwest, especially in the fall season where we have a very drastic drop in temperatures, really from the beginning to the end of the season as a whole. This is basically what the average temperature line looks like for any Pacific Northwest city. A very steep drop through the months of October, November, and December, bottoming out by mid-December and into the first week of January. We have very cold early winters for us. So that means around the holiday season, we can experience oftentimes some of the coldest weather of the entire year. Here's a look at some of the average high temperatures for Thanksgiving and Christmas, respectively, as we go from about 40 to 50 degrees across the eastern and western side of Washington, down to 33, the average high in Spokane. These numbers you see here are the lowest average highs of the entire year for the last week of December. But it is a pretty big difference from a balmy mid-40s in Seattle and Portland to that near freezing mark in Spokane. And that, of course, makes the biggest difference determining whether we get a white Christmas or not. Already looking ahead, but because the low temperatures don't often get to 32 degrees, the chances for a white Christmas for Seattle and Portland on the west side of the Cascades is extremely low, just 3 to 4%, but a bit better in Spokane, almost 50-50. But if you are determined to see a white Christmas, there's an easy solution. You can always go to the mountains.
Thanks, Thomas. That's going to do it for us here on Weather Out West. I'm meteorologist Ashley Ruiz, and we thank you so much for being with us today. We'll see you here, hopefully, again tomorrow.